Crypto Trader is proudly brought to you by Element, a full-service investment bank for the digital token capital markets.
The crypto market crashes to below $350 billion before staging an epic comeback. The SEC confirms a warm but cautious approach to ICOs and crypto. SEC heads confirm their kids are investing in crypto. South Korea finance minister confirms that they have no plans to ban crypto. And Telegram raises nearly $1 billion in a pre-ICO. Those are your headlines. I'm Crypto Man Run and you're watching Crypto Trader, the world's largest cryptocurrency investment show. This week, we're going to put the headlines aside and focus on the real business of making real money. And it looks like in crypto, the real money is being made in ICOs. Today, if you follow Telegram groups or WhatsApp groups or other forums, you'll find that everyone's searching for that elusive 100x. Have you made 100x on any one of your crypto investments? Well, I haven't, but some others have. Icon was one of the most recent ICOs to yield its investors over 100x. I think we can say for sure it's nothing short of a mania. A mania that is being fueled by marketing techniques that create hype, scarcity, and create a FOMO that only people in crypto can understand. Tens of ICOs happening daily, raising tens of millions of dollars in a matter of minutes. This must be the biggest mania the world's ever seen. And let me tell you, the FOMO is real. So, here at CNBC, we've created a special task force to travel the world and find the best ICOs all around the world. This task force is going from Tel Aviv to Singapore to Estonia to the USA with one mission: to find the best ICOs and to bring them to you. So tonight, we're going to kick off the first of our monthly ICO shows with 5 of the most promising ICOs in the world. Our team has been scouring the world and have brought us 5 of the best. Starting off with an ICO from London. Ami Ben David, you share the sentiment that I do, that securities tokens are going to be the next big thing. Tell us, what does Spice VC actually do?
Spice is a venture capital fund investing in the world of crypto, but specifically our expertise is in the tokenization of securities. And we started by tokenizing our own fund, and now we're tokenizing all sorts of assets, anything from funds, companies, real estate even, everything that has to do with the tokenization of assets is our expertise.
Okay, let's break it down a little because you're touching on quite a few concepts. First of all, can you give us some insight as to why you think securities tokens are going to be so big?
I think that the first wave of ICO was doing utility tokens, and that was a lot about protocols, networks. And it's exciting and relevant, but it's suitable only for a very small part of the economy, just protocols, networks, and things like that. What we're talking about is taking the same concept of tokenizing ownership, but take it to actual assets. So it's the first times that we're talking about tokenizing assets that are in a regulated fashion or a regulation-compliant fashion, and it's asset-backed. So it applies basically to every illiquid asset on the planet, and there are actually more assets than money.
Ami, if what you're saying is right, we can make the assumption that securities tokens are going to make utilities tokens look like a drop in the ocean.
I think that's the case. I think that the tokenization of securities is going to bypass utility tokens already in 2018. We're seeing it on in our own deal flow and in the deals that we are doing ourselves.
And you think this is going to happen as soon as 2018?
Yes, I mean, we launched last week our first portfolio company called Securitize. It's a portfolio company of Spice, and on the first week after launch, we're already talking to companies to tokenize assets worth almost $1 billion.
Ami, what type of assets are these companies tokenizing?
Any asset that's illiquid. We're looking at VC funds like ourselves. The way that we started originally was to tokenize Spice VC itself. But then we realized that tokenization model works for many more assets, and that VC is only a small part of it.
I mean, what about liquidity for these securities type tokens? We know that as we stand today, there's no liquidity. We also know that T0 promises to come online sometime later this year. Do you think that these tokens will become liquid this year?
I think that the first step is tradability. So the first step is to make it possible to trade them. And for most of the assets we're tokenizing, it wasn't even possible to, it was very, very hard to trade them. So liquidity is not an on-off. Liquidity is a continuum, it's a spectrum.
Let's move to Spice, because that's the ICO that you guys are launching. What is Spice VC?
Spice is a fund with a mission to tokenize the world. That is our mission. And we're investing in ICOs, most particularly in security ICOs, where we have the access to basically a ton of deals, because we're involved in them very, very early. So we get them at the pre stage. We will take some of the investments ourselves. Some of the investments we will, turn around to the syndicate of our own investors that will participate. We're also investing in infrastructure for security tokens, like, for example, our investment into Securitize.
Okay, and you're raising an ICO. How much money are you raising, and what is the use of the token?
We're going to issue tokens for $100 million raise. That's the maximum. We will never raise more than 100 for this specific fund for Spice. And the way that it works is that every token holder in Spice gets the right to receive their share of exits when the exits arrive. So Spice is making investments. A lot of our investments are going to be liquid. Some of the investments are going to be illiquid. But when we liquidate an investment and get a return, we will distribute this return to the token holders. It's like an equity. It gives, in a regular fund, when there's money to distribute, money is distributed to the equity holders in the fund, but it's very hard to sell the equity itself. So in a regular VC fund, if you invest, you're kind of locked for anywhere between 7 and 12 years. That's why the VC space or funds space is very unattractive, because it's illiquid. Once you invest and you get your tokens, you can transfer them to someone else. You can sell them, and you can sell a portion of them. So that's a very disruptive new way of doing funds.
I mean, when does your token sale start? And if our viewers are interested, where can they go to get more information?
Just go to our site, spicevc.com, and log in, and the wizard will take you through the process and tell you if you can invest or not.
Remember, if you're watching this on YouTube and you want more daily content, just hit subscribe. If you buy into the thesis that 80% of the content on the internet today is video, and that video is changing from something we watch to something we experience, then this next ICO may excite you. It certainly excited me. In fact, I think it's one of the most exciting ICOs that I've seen in a long time. Halsey Miner, you're very excited about video. Tell us a little bit about what VideoCoin is.
VideoCoin uses servers across the internet, a huge number of servers which exist in data centers today, which are being unused, and allows them to make money doing three different things in video: to encode video, to store video, and to stream video. So we're essentially a much cheaper version of Amazon Web Services when it comes to video.
So who would be your customers at VideoCoin?
So about 80% of the internet today is video, and it's growing at 25% compound annual year. You have 4K, 8K, and VR coming. So you have video really at an inflection point. The biggest producers of video are media companies, and they are faced with a very difficult situation with the explosion of online video. And so broadcast costs them nothing. Every person streaming and watching online does cost them money, and they don't know how to monetize it yet. So we see media and new kinds of applications like VR and AR as being by far the most attractive. There'll be new apps, I think, that will be consumer driven, but I think really we solve a massive problem for today's media companies.
Okay. Can you give us a practical example of how a media company would benefit from using your services?
Somebody like Netflix. Netflix has to take every one of their videos, and they have to convert it into thousands of different formats for different devices at different bandwidth, and they've got to stream it across the network, store it and stream it. They use Amazon Web Services. Somebody like that, you probably reduce their cost by about 50%. And in addition, they no longer have to pay their competitor Amazon, which is a big problem with all the media companies because they're paying huge amounts of money to Amazon and Google. And this is probably Amazon's most profitable business.
Tell me about the token. The token is the magic here. Tell me how the token will work.
The token is really sort of the magic in this new computer architecture because it's able to harness computational resources, computers, storage, and bandwidth all across the globe, particularly in places where it's less expensive, and that's typically in a lot of data centers today that have basically about 20% of all data centers today have what are known as zombie computers. They're not being used for any purpose. They're just overbuilding in a data center, and using video coin, they can become video miners. So the coin creates a real-time marketplace for people who have resources to be able to contribute it and to start earning on infrastructure and capital expense where they're not, in fact, earning anything today. It's really the simplest way to think about it is we're turning computers and computation into a service similar to Airbnb for homes or Uber for drivers. The only difference is it's much easier to deal with computers than it is to deal with humans.
Halsey, how much money are you guys raising, and when does your token sale start?
Yeah, so we're capping it at 50 million, which for a coin like ours is relatively low amount. We think it's better for the whole ecosystem to do that. And the public scale, which will probably be exceedingly short, would happen around March 22nd.
And if our viewers want more information, where can they go?
Videocoin.io has just about all the information you need. Our CTO, who's leading this effort, built Intel's video streaming cloud, which was sold to Facebook. And for those people who remembered video showing up one day on Facebook, it's because they bought the very same service that he created.
If I understood your white paper correctly, you're actually not launching an ERC20 token, but you're rather forking the Ethereum blockchain, which sounds hell of ambitious. Why is this the route that you've chosen to go?
The Ethereum token doesn't scale. And I think for people who are serious about doing things, they're going to have to make significant changes per ecosystem. When we started Salesforce, we created our own app server. Amazon created its own operating system. When I was running CNET, we created the platform for web publishing in the 90s. So I think if you're really serious about doing this, you need to do a lot of custom development to make sure that your ecosystem is capable.
Remember, if you're watching us on YouTube and you want more of this content, just hit the subscribe button. For the purposes of full disclosure, I must disclose that I'm actually an advisor to the next ICO. So I'm excited about it. Alex Kravitz is the founder of Xtrade, and we found him in a hotel room in Korea. He's in Korea on a roadshow trying to raise capital. Alex, we won't keep you away from your investors for too long, but can you give us a little bit of background as to what Xtrade actually is?
So Xtrade.io is a way to bring Wall Street technology to the crypto markets. Right now, the crypto markets are fragmented. There's over 100 of them. They have different access interfaces, APIs for automated trading. And if you want to trade across multiple markets, you have to write each individual API 100 times over, which really kind of sucks. On top of that, you have multiple interfaces that are web pages. So if you have 5 exchanges you're trading on, you have to open 5 web pages. And then on top of that, liquidity is not that great. So if you try to work a $1 million order, or just even a large order in general, you have to throw it across multiple exchanges, and then you have to basically have small pieces executed. It's going to move the markets. It's not a great deal of fun. So we're taking existing financial tech that solves these problems and bringing it into the crypto markets to make trading easier and better for everybody in the space, ranging from hedge funds to institutions to banks to just active traders in general.
Alex, it sounds like you're solving a big problem, which is a serious barrier to real money flowing into crypto. Why do you think that this problem hasn't been solved already?
We think that a lot of these exchanges are built by blockchain technologists, which is obviously the way it should be working because these are blockchain projects. But there's really no overlap from like traditional finance technical guys versus the crypto exchanges. So that technology has to basically come from guys that know how to build it, and sort of like the Venn diagram between the blockchain guys and the finance guys, and somebody who kind of knows both is very minimal. And so we're kind of bringing that knowledge of how the crypto markets work and also how traditional finance markets work.
Alex, when you say we, who is we, and why do you think that you've got an advantage in this game?
Sure. So I was started off as a proprietary day trader in the year 2000, 2001. Did that for several years. After that, we ran a brokerage firm. So we essentially did software. So we created the software we traded on. We actually started getting people to use. We became a clearing firm, a market data vendor, co-location provider for high frequency trading. We did a retail brokerage that had at one point 100,000 investors. Basically, the entire gamut of the equity execution systems and brokerage services that are out there are the ones that I participated in. My partner Sergey Gulko owns a technology company called Axon Software. So they've built the stuff also for 12 years. So they've built matching engines, execution systems, market data systems, very low latency, high frequency systems like in CME that I think do nanosecond latencies for execution. So just very, very robust, very high-end systems built for banks and hedge funds and high-frequency trading players. And our third partner, John Jacoby, has worked at JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs, managing institutional orders in structured products. And so he's got a lot of relationships in the space. Create an on-ramp for institutional investors, for high-volume traders to bring liquidity into the space that really sorely needs it.
How far are you in the development of the product? Is this an idea, or is there already a product that is developed?
Sure. So we're actually creating 4 different products. The first product is a FIX API. So FIX is sort of like the communication language between multiple systems. So if you have an order entry system, a market data system, an execution system, in the finance space, they communicate via the FIX protocols. FIX stands for Financial Information Exchange. And so we're taking that same protocol that everybody knows and loves and uses and creating a layer with the crypto exchange APIs. So now, basically, instead of having to write to 100 APIs to trade with your algorithmic program, or just if you want to integrate the data into your existing system, you just write to us once, and we give you all the data and all the execution from there. And so that's already built. It's just a matter of adding more and more exchanges to it. Right now, we have multiple exchanges added, and post our token generation event, we're going to add the balance. We're going to add enough to launch the product in Q1 of this year.
Okay, fantastic. You're doing a token sell. How much money are you raising, and what's the use case for the token?
Sure. So the use case for the token is a utility token to pay for services on our network. So it's market data, colocation, execution system, execution charges, and so forth. We're raising $45 million. Most of the money is going to be used for liquidity aggregation. So we're going to open accounts, multiple exchanges, and do the executions for you. That's 70 or 75% of the money at this point in time. And the rest is to develop the platform for the operational, legal, compliance, and other aspects of the system.
Alex, if our viewers are excited and they want in, where can they go for more information?
Go to our website, xtrade.io, xtrade.io. Join our Telegram. Join our pre-sale whitelist. Our whitelist is open now, and the pre-sale is going to start February 10th for the public. And so we'll publish that information to whitelisted participants, rather. We look forward to closing this out quickly and then moving on to the product stage and getting clients on, because we have a lot of people knocking on the door who want to use this product. And we're going to be very happy to allow them to do so. And we look forward to a great year and beyond in the crypto space for us and for our clients.
Remember, if you're watching this on YouTube and you want more information on ICOs and other crypto information, just hit the subscribe button now. We move from Korea to Tel Aviv. Amos Meri is the founder of Kolu, and Kolu is an ICO that is solving real-world problems in a very interesting way. Amos, welcome to CNBC. Can you tell us what Kolu actually does?
So Kolu started as the main developer of colored coins, which was the first protocol that enabled the issuance and transactions of digital assets. And we developed a developers platform to build different applications. And after a while running the platform, we saw that the main use case that people started using was actually community currencies. So we started focusing on that use case, and we issued 4 community currencies in 4 cities. two in Israel and two in the UK, which were very, very successful, reaching already 120,000 transactions on a monthly basis.
Amos, explain the concept of a community currency to us. Why would anyone want to use a community currency instead of using a more mainstream currency like the US dollar or the shekel?
So community currencies it's not a new idea. It's with us in the past 100 years already. So community currencies started as a way to solve very specific problems for communities. Sometimes it could be to keep money circulating locally, or strengthening small and medium-sized businesses to solve credit problems for the people within the community.
Give me an example of a community currency and how it actually solves a problem.
So we issued a community currency, for example, in Liverpool. And one of the problems there is all of the chains coming to Liverpool and taking over the small and medium-sized businesses, which create basically most of the jobs within the city. So we started with a very, very simple model for a community currency over there that kept circulating the money within the people in the community and the small and medium-sized businesses. So over there, the idea was to solve the small and medium-sized businesses getting hurt by the big chains such as Tesco and others, but also create some kind of a credit model between the users and the businesses, where users will be able to provide loans to the businesses that they purchase at every day.
Okay, and what's in it for the user? As a user, why would I use a community currency instead of using a dollar or a shekel?
So with the new model, with the CLN, how it will work is that for every transaction, fiat transaction, pound, for example, in Liverpool, that you will make to purchase anything in different stores, you will earn the community currency, Liverpool currency. And by doing that, basically, you become a stakeholder within the payment network. So the more people who are using the network and paying within the network, the more demand that it creates to the Liverpool currency. So you're becoming a stakeholder, just like when you're holding Bitcoin or Ethereum, you're a stakeholder with that network.
Amos, there's no such thing as a free lunch. If I'm getting an incentive, someone's funding this incentive. Where is this funding coming from?
Yeah, so that's a great part. So instead of the business paying transaction fees to Visa or any other credit card provider, we're taking that saved fees, exchanging them basically to community currencies, and then returning them back to the community in the form of the community currency.
Okay, tell me about the CLN token.
So the CLN started to solve the liquidity problem of all of those community currencies. So think about communities of 10,000 people. Sometimes you won't have enough a transaction or liquidity to have a price for that new currency. So the CLN provides something that we call mechanical market making, providing liquidity and tradability to all of those community currency. But also, as we move forward, it's going to provide a better and cheaper payment network for those communities. So the CLN focus on solving community problem like credit and efficiency of transaction, while it also provides liquidity and tradability to all those community currency without being listed on exchanges. So you always have a price and you always have liquidity.
Amos, how many CLN tokens can we expect, and when is the token issue going to start?
So it's 1.5 billion CLNs. We started the pre-sale 2 months ago, and we're very close to closing that. And the token sale itself is happening on the 14th of February.
Amos, if our viewers want in, where can they go to get more information?
So they go to cln.network. We would love to have them participate in the token sale, but also, more importantly, in building those community currencies.
Remember, if you're watching this on YouTube and you want more of this content, just hit the subscribe button. Next up, we're going to Stanford, where Ethan Fost is completing his PhD. Ethan's also building a decentralized exchange on the Neo network. Talk about a perfect recipe for hype. PhD, Stanford, decentralized exchange, and the Neo blockchain. Ethan, welcome to CNBC. Tell us who you guys are and what you're building on the Neo blockchain.
Yeah, so the co-founders of this project all come from an organization called the City of Zion, which is a sort of open source group that emerged to support the Neo ecosystem roughly 6 months ago. And we've been doing a lot of development work there, creating projects many people have heard of, such as the Neon Wallet, NeoPython, and so on. And so a subset of us decided to start working on this other project, and again, which has a lot of bearing on the sort of broader Neo ecosystem development, which is this decentralized exchange called MEXC. And our sort of high-level idea with MEXC is that we want to take these sort of valuable properties of decentralized exchanges, the sort of this ability for users to maintain control of their funds, and make it much more performant. Because if you look at sort of the existing solutions that exist for this sort of thing today, they're just really slow since they run on the blockchain. And so we're introducing this idea called a sort of off-chain matching engine, which allows a sort of high-performance server to sort of operate to match trades off the chain, but maintain the on-chain settlement. So hopefully we get users sort of much higher usability with this kind of thing, and also support these kinds of high-volume bot APIs and things that are really important for an exchange to be successful.
So Ethan, if I understand it correctly, it works almost like the Lightning Network as an off-chain solution. So you create all these transactions off-chain, and every now and then you go back to the chain and you net them off against each other. And if that's true, the advantages are that you don't have to pay blockchain fees, so it's much cheaper, and you can do way more transactions.
That's right. Yeah, we can do so many more trades. We're thinking about numbers up to like 1 million, transaction per second, which is just, at least given today's current blockchain technology, just totally unfeasible.
Ethan, some of our viewers have a very basic knowledge. Why do we need a decentralized exchange? What's wrong with the current centralized exchanges?
So I would say, the primary issue with the centralized exchange is the sort of control you give up of your funds. So, there have been many hacks over the years, right? Mt. Gox maybe being the most famous one, but, there have been plenty of others. And effectively, the risk you take when you store your funds on an exchange is that, someone compromises the exchange and then, your money's at risk, right? So these solutions that allow you to maintain control of your funds, but still allow you to sort of interact with them in the ways that you'd like to, trading them for other things, it's just sort of a better solution from a security standpoint.
How far are you from actually launching a decentralized exchange?
We expect to have a prototype out pretty soon, within Q1. So that, that we'll effectively have a prototype roughly around the time of the ICO, which again will also be in Q1.
What's the token called and what's the use case for it?
Yeah, so it's a token called NEX, and what NEX does is it gives the holders of the token a sort of share of the fees that are generated by the exchange. And this is dictated also by sort of how long they're willing to stake those tokens in a smart contract. So for example, if you're willing to stake your NEX tokens for a longer period of time, you can generate a higher percentage of fee share. So, we're thinking roughly something in a range of 50 to 75%, but we haven't announced any exact numbers there yet.
Ethan, you're talking about giving away 50 to 75% of your revenue to token holders. That sounds like a huge stake. What's the logic behind this? I mean, if I look at the other coins are giving away 5% or 10%. What's the logic of giving away 50 to 75% of the revenue? So
if you think about this, one thing is that NEX, sort of like City of Zion, is in some sense a community project. And we do sort of want to build, an ecosystem, right, that has a stake in this project. So that's one thing. That's sort of one sort of idea that we have. Another sort of more practical thing is that NEX itself will hold many of the tokens, right? So NEX itself is also getting that fee share for its own tokens. So that's another thing. And the final thing here is that we've just seen so many tokens out there that just aren't necessarily producing the sort of straightforward value that you might expect them to, given their prices. And there's a very, very strong speculative component in some of this stuff. So we just want to make sure that anyone who's sort of investing in us actually has value generated by this thing.
Ethan, I think the question on everyone's mind is the $1 million question. Why did you decide to build on the Neo blockchain and not on the Ethereum blockchain?
So it's a kind of natural fit, again, because we are the founders of this sort of ecosystem development community on the Neo blockchain. But beyond that, the Neo blockchain currently is much faster than Ethereum, and it's able to do this given a sort of a faster consensus protocol, DBFT, which just makes things a lot better. So in terms of settlement, it does offer some benefits. Although with that being said, NEX is also going to be on Ethereum as well shortly. So following our launch on Neo, we'll also expand to we'll also expand to do things on the Ethereum blockchain as well.
Ethan, if our viewers want in, where can they go to get more information?
Yeah, sure. So there's neonexchange.org is our website. We also have a Twitter, at Neon Exchange on Twitter. So those are the two best ways to find us. You can also check out the Neo Reddit, which would probably have any news that we're announcing.
If you want more crypto information in your mailbox daily, just hit the subscribe button now. This next ICO won the prize for the best ICO at the biggest Bitcoin conference in the world, the North American Bitcoin Conference. Eran Eyal is the founder of Shopin, and he's in Korea, also raising money on a roadshow. Eran, tell us a little bit about what Shopin is actually doing.
So Shopin is turning the open retail web and in-store into a distributed Amazon by giving users a universal shopper profile. We work with retailers to populate that shopper profile with all the purchase data of the user, and then we reserve it in a non-conflictory way to the retailers to create higher conversions.
Eran, let's talk about what that means practically. It means that for once, as a shopper, I can actually shop at multiple stores, collect my data from multiple stores which I own, and then you upload the data to my profile.
Correct, and then you carry that everywhere you go with you. Imagine that you had a personal shopping assistant that had been shopping with you for 3 to 5 years. They knew everything that you bought, the size, the color, what your flavor of stuff is, and they go into every store before you get there, and they take out the 30,000 items, that are irrelevant to you, and just show you the 5 to 8 items that are perfect for you.
So through data, you give the shopper a much better shopping experience. What about the retailer?
Well, we've seen that in 2 pilots. Retailers saw a 20% uptick in transactional conversion, which is a massive change. So the retailer gets much higher conversions, better marketing data, and also we've also seen that it has an impact on their return rate.
Eran, are you saying that this system can be plugged into any retailer in the world?
Exactly. Most retailers are built on some pre-bought software from either Salesforce or IBM, a variety of other companies. And what we do is we build for those APIs. So we pre-build for all of those as much as possible, and in some cases create customized solutions, so it's very easy for the retailer to integrate us.
Okay, sounds amazing. Have you actually piloted the system? Does it work?
Yeah, we did 2 pilots with major retailers, one with a high-end men's suiting brand, and one with the largest home goods supplier in Middle America.
Eran, tell me a little bit about how the pilot actually worked.
So the retailers invited their users in the high-end men's suiting one. It was 1 million users, and out of them, 130,000 people joined within 30 days to shop in. And then they went back to the Just For You page, where we reserved the product recommendations that were perfect for them, and we saw that those users converted 22% more than users who didn't see those product recommendations.
Okay, the concept sounds awesome, but explain to me why you need the blockchain.
It's a great question. So first of all, if you think about the data that we're getting from the retailers, this is like the ultimate honeypot of data. And you think about all the big data hacks we've had from Yahoo and all those kind of people, like 500 million people getting hacked, that's because you have a central database. That's the first component. With us, every single user owns their own data. So even if you manage to hack a user, which is very hard in our system, all the other users remain safe. It's too hard to get into that data. And the second component is that we've been able to segment all the retailers' data and fragment it and encrypt it. So it's never going to be a situation where all the retailers' data are getting mixed up together with one another.
Eran, tell me about the token. What does the token actually do?
So that's kind of the second thing that the blockchain enables us to do. It enables us to have a cryptocurrency. So we kind of thought to ourselves, isn't it quite sad that whenever you get served an advert, whenever you get to perform, of any sort, it's Facebook and Google who get richer, not the retailer, not you. So what we do is we think that, well, first of all, this data is the best source of data in the world that you can get. I mean, this kind of data doesn't exist in the world. And from your background, how important this kind of data would be to access because it's so hyper-targeted. So we are building an ad engine on top of all the profiles, and you can advertise as a retailer down to the user, and the user gets the money, gets the cryptocurrency, and then can come spend it within the ecosystem of retail.
Is the only way to advertise on your platform through using the token? Or can people still use fiat?
No, the only way that you can advertise to the users through the token. And that keeps the token economy closed.
Eran, let's talk about the token sale. I know you raised $10 million in a matter of a few minutes.
It was amazing. After Miami, we kind of exploded. Within less than 5 days, we had 3 times the amount of requests for the $10 million. And we've kind of had to shove people into the public sale. We've had people really begging us and offering to do things and all kinds of crazy stuff, but we have to stick to our guns. So we're really grateful. We have some amazing people who have supported us.
Okay, when does the public sale open?
Our public sale should be airing on the 15th of March. That's when we'll do our token generation event. But probably in about 2 weeks, we're going to be doing a public pre-sale.
And how much money are you raising in the total ICO?
Our total token generation event is going to be $50 million.
Okay, if our viewers want to go shopping for shopping tokens, where can they go?
If they go to www.shopin.com, they can find everything they need over there. Because what we're doing is we're giving you a profile for you to shop in all the places that you love.
That's all the time we have for tonight. 5 of the best ICOs that our team were able to find. Go to my Twitter @CryptoManRun and tell us which of the 5 you would actually back. If you know of any ICOs and you want them featured on our show, it's ICO@cnbccryptotrader.com. And until next week, where we bring you 5 more ICOs, trade well, my friends.
Crypto Trader is proudly brought to you by Element, a full-service investment bank for the digital token capital markets.
If you're watching this on YouTube and you want more daily news and reviews, hit the subscribe button now.